Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera.
So the next thing we're going to make is a pineapple and mango salsa. I've got a fresh pineapple here, and you notice I cut off the top and the bottom. I'm going to cut it into quarters, and I'm going to take out the core just by slicing it like that. And then I'm going to slice it into some smaller, more manageable slices. I'm going to switch to a smaller knife to be a little more careful with my cutting. I'm just going to cut the outside off of these pieces. And then I'm going to go ahead and dice this up into nice smallish chunks. I don't want it real fine. I want that chunkiness to come through. Now this salsa is really wonderful on chicken tacos, because the chicken tacos I'm going to make are not going to be a super spicy, heavy on pepper kind of taco. They're going to be a little bit on the more tropical side, because as you know, there's plenty of beautiful tropical fruits in Mexico, and not all Mexican cuisine is the same. So while I was thinking about what to do with tacos for tonight, I thought, let's do something a little different. So we're going to make this beautiful salsa. So I'm going to continue to chop up this wonderful pineapple, and I'll be right back. I'm going to cut up our mango, and I'm actually going to peel it. Hopefully it's a nice ripe one. And when you're buying these in the grocery store, when you squeeze it, it should have a little give to it. This one is pretty ripe. I would have liked a little riper, but it was the best one that they had at the store. You know, and you'd think living in a place like Las Vegas, with residents coming from all over the world, we'd have a little better access to global produce and spices. But I find as I explore other cultures' foods, I can't get everything I need at the grocery store, and I love to use fresh fruits and fresh herbs, and I try to do as much as possible, but sometimes it's just not my lucky day. So you make do, but this one seems pretty good. All right, get that last little bit off. So I'm just going to cut down the side here. And then cut down this side, cut down this side, and then the last side. And you're usually left with a little bit of meat around the seed. It's also less ripe, so don't make too big of an effort to get every bit of flesh off of there. And then again, I'm just going to dice this up and throw it in with the pineapple, and I'll be right back. I've diced up all the pineapple and all the mango. I used the whole mango, half of a pineapple. You can see they're almost the same color, and although it's delicious fresh fruit, it is a little boring. So we're going to do a few things to add color and flavor. I am going to use the zest of this lime. I don't want the strong lime juice flavor in here. So I'm going to save the lime juice for another one of our dishes. But I'm just getting some of this beautiful lime zest in here, and it smells nice and fragrant. Gives us some little green flecks in there. All right. So you can see we got the nice green flecks in there. I'm going to add a little more green here by just a little bit of parsley. Again, the star of this dish is definitely the fruit. So I just want little bits of other things to kind of lift up the flavor. got some parsley. Now this particular salsa is all about the fruit. It's not about heat. So I'm not going to add much in the way of hot sauce or anything like that. I am going to add just a few more things. Instead of adding anything like jalapenos or some other kind of spicy pepper, I'm going to go back to these beautiful peppadew peppers. You can see it's already been seeded. They make wonderful appetizers because you can stuff this with like salami and cheese, or you could use goat cheese. There's a lot of things you can do with those. So I'm just going to chop a couple of these up. They do have a little bit of heat, but it's very little, and they're sweet. And of course that beautiful bright red color is going to add some interest to our salsa. So let's see how, I think one more. And I'm chopping it up kind of fine because I don't want it to take over the fruit. Okay, so we've got our peppers in there. I'm going to add just a hint of cumin. And just a splash of sriracha. And then a splash of our white balsamic vinegar. And a splash of extra virgin olive oil. I'm not adding a lot of any of these because the fruit is pretty juicy. It should kind of stand up on its own. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this up, and now you can see we're starting to see the color from the peppers and the color from the parsley. Okay, and I'm going to give this a little taste just to see how sweet our fruit is or isn't. So I'll make sure I get a little bit of the pineapple and a little bit of the mango. It's very good. Now if your fruit wasn't sweet enough, you could add a squirt of honey in here. It'd be delicious. And the last thing I'm going to add to this is a little bit of fresh mint. I have to run out to the garden to get some. Out to the backyard, I've got some beautiful mint as well as basil and a few other herbs growing back there. And I'm going to put a little bit of this into my mango pineapple salsa. It'll just add a little more brightness and a little to the dish. So that should be enough. Just going to squish those up and give them a quick dice. Mince, I should say. I want to get this pretty finely chopped. You don't want to get a big piece of mint on your taco. You just want the mint, like all the other ingredients, to be the supporting cast for the pineapple and mango. So I'm chopping that up pretty fine. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Get a clean spoon. So there we have our pineapple mango salsa. As this sits in the fridge, some of the juice will come out of the fruit, so it'll get a little more saucy, like a true salsa should be. Okay, give me a minute to reboot and we'll go on to our next item. Many of you may have noticed I've had a few oops moments. I don't edit those out for you because when I'm cooking for my family, if I have an oops moment, I don't stop, throw it out, and start over. I learn to adjust. And so that's what I'm going to do today for you, and what I always do. Now we have this wonderful taco place in Las Vegas. Actually, it's a chain. It's a local chain. I think they have probably about 10, 12 stores maybe. And they make these wonderful deep fried chicken tacos. And one of the things they have is a little vegetable bar where you can get sliced cucumbers, sliced radishes, they have carrots, they have onion, and they're just a wonderful fresh addition to the crispy, and I don't want to say greasy, but there is a good bit of fat in the fried taco. So it's kind of a nice, fresh and crisp element. And so I was thinking about that. How can I tweak that for my tacos tonight? So I'm going to make a little relish out of this beautiful English cucumber. Now, you can't eat the skins. I tend to peel part of it off just because I don't want a lot of skin, but I also love the way it looks when you slice it. It's a beautiful slice with little decorative sides. So I'm going to go ahead and slice this out. Now, you could cube it if you wanted, but I like the way it looks in the slices. I like the decorativeness of it. So I'm just going to use half of this, and I'll save the rest of this cucumber. We eat a lot of salads and just raw veggies with some homemade ranch dip or some homemade Italian dressing. I'm just going to toss those in there. And then I've got a bunch of fresh radishes from the store. I don't think I'll need all of these, but we'll see. Maybe 4 of them. I've already washed them. I'm just going to cut the tops and bottoms off. And I love radishes. Growing up in Wisconsin, every time you had a family party or a potluck or something, one of the things you would always find was a relish tray. Now, they didn't call it a veggie tray back then. It was a relish tray. You had some radishes. You had green onions. You had pickles, maybe olives, things like that. And so that's kind of also the inspiration for this. I've got a couple of green onions left from doing such a tray the other day. So I'm going to go ahead and slice this up real thin. I'm going to use mostly the white, but you can use a bit of the green. It's got good taste too. As you get further up the stem, it sometimes can get a little too fibrous, so I'm going to not use that real green part. Now this is going to have a little bit of a kick in it, this relish, because it's got both the radishes and the green onions. So we got some green onion in there. I'm going to slice up our radishes. And you know, when I was a kid, our house backed up to a vacant field, and it was owned by a farmer, and sometimes he planted it and sometimes not, but he actually allowed us to have a little bit of the edge of the field to grow our own garden. And one thing I always grew was radishes. I think I was the biggest radish lover in the family, and all I would do is cut off the end, wash them, and shake them with some salt and pepper and eat them raw. My dad liked radish sandwiches. Never quite got into that, but he'd just take some plain white bread, some soft butter, spread the butter on the bread, sprinkle on the radishes, and like one nice layer, and then sprinkle on a little salt and pepper. Okay, so we've got radishes, cucumbers, green onions. You could put carrots in there too, but I'm not going to. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of vinegar, the tiniest bit of hot sauce. And a little bit of that cumin, just a little bit. Again, this is almost like the pineapple mango salsa. I want these vegetables to be the star. Okay, we'll add a little bit of fresh ground black pepper, or a lot. I like a lot. And I do like salt on my cucumbers and on my radishes, but I will put that on right before serving so they stay a little crisper. Okay, so there we have our radish and cucumber relish, also for our wonderful chicken tacos that are coming up.
Guantanamera, Guajira,